So don't you change that dial. Stay with us. We're going to take a quick commercial break as we sign into our social media platform. And we will be right back with more Hard Talk.
You already know the power of Licks products on your clothes and household. You Licks your whites and colored clothes, leaving them fresh and scented. You Licks your dishes and left your hands protected with vitamin E. You Licks your floors, even Licks your toilet. Now we expand and bring you 3 new scents in our fabric softener: Balmy Sunshine, Summer Sunshine, and Thousand Flowers. And Licks those stains off of colored clothes with Licks Color Scent Bleach. Licks went even further with Body Care Body Soap Bars in deodorant and antibacterial. So Licks tiredness and bacteria out and refresh your tired body. Your products giving you Licks? Then choose Licks from Today Distribution Inc. Available at all leading supermarkets.
All right, guys. Today is Monday, May 18th, 2026. And today we are discussing the issues that matters. Now, St. Lucia has been making headway in the social media sphere. I mean, St. Lucia is doing it big. Everybody's talking about St. Lucia for so many reasons. One, for the recently concluded St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival, which, by the way, according to all accounts, was a success. But yet, we're yet to find out how much St. Lucia actually made from this festival, how much money we made, what benefits we accrued, and so on and so forth. Of course, they keep telling us that it is, it cannot be measured. But we know better, don't we? Oh my God. We know better. What the? Sorry, guys. Somebody's very stubbornly trying to get my attention. It's like they don't realize it is 2 p.m. and it's time for Hard Talk. Just stubbornly trying to get my attention. If you want to get my attention, then tune in to 107.7 FM and tune into the broadcast. My apologies, guys. Some people they just don't know how to check the time. Oh, wow. So, guys, as I was saying, St. Lucia is making waves on social media for so many reasons. And not just for the recently concluded Jazz and Arts Festival. We're also making waves on social media for other things that we shouldn't be making waves for, in my opinion. Unconfirmed reports indicate that there has been at least 2 murders over the weekend. I am still waiting for official word from the St. Lucia Fire Service. And before I do that, I'm just checking again. Nope. No official word as yet. But as soon as official word comes in, because I don't want to get myself in trouble, guys. As I said, I want to bring you the facts from the source. I want to give you the facts that are undisputed. So I want to take my information from official sources and not just from what the infamous Sam Jukba Flood would call Pawal Bolawi. So permit me to just hold off on these losses, and I call them losses because it's loss of life. But permit me to just hold off on this for a while, just so I can get official word from either the Royal St. Lucia Police Force or from the St. Lucia Fire Service, so then I can bring you the information from the source, from official sources, and that you know for sure that the information is correct. Because, of course, we don't want to be called enemies of the state now, do we? And you know they're quick to label us whenever we make a mistake, whenever we say something, whenever we speak out of turn. If we vent about a problem, if we talk about something that needs to be addressed, the labels come. Enemy of the state is enemy of progress, and so on and so forth. These are the words that they use. Not that we care, because we're really not enemies of the state. We're simply concerned citizens highlighting what is wrong in our country today. And there are people out there trying to silence us by labeling us in these condescending and quite insulting manners. But that's not going to stop us. Again, we are on Fire FM and we're coming in hot. But there are other reasons why St. Lucia is taking a forefront in social media. Crime is one of them. Another one is what is happening in the city of Castries. And of course, I am speaking about the plight of the vendors. Now, I had a conversation over the weekend. Well, it was late last week actually. And I do apologize. Before I go further, let me apologize for not being here on Thursday and Friday as advertised. Guys, I really do apologize. These days, things seem to be running away with me. And we did have technical issues. We were off the air for most of the weekend. But we're back, as you can see. And we're dealing with it. Thank you guys for always being there for us. Those of you, no matter where you're joining us, even if you are at home or in the diaspora, if you're joining us on the Fire FM 107 link, if you're joining us on the 107.7 FM frequency on your radio, or if you are on Facebook, or if you're catching this belatedly on YouTube, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sticking with Fire 107.7 FM, because guys, I'm going to be honest with you. These are the radio stations, they make it look easy. It is not. I just want to tell you. Sometimes everything that can go wrong does go wrong. But you have to have faith, and you have to keep going no matter what. And as long as Fire FM is the name of this station, we're going to keep going, keep burning no matter what. We're like the burning bush in the Bible. We're not going out. Our flame will continue. It's eternal. So, as I was saying, I have a I had a conversation with the president of the Vendors Association, Ras Ipa Isaac, and the news that he gave me, guys, was quite disturbing. Those of you who do listen or who pay attention would have caught the tirade by a certain government minister on his Thursday evening show. Well, there are so many names for that show. Officially, it's called Can I Help You? But persons have been renaming this show based on the content. So some call it Can I Mape With You? Some call it Can I Insult You? You never know. But on this Thursday evening publication, a certain government minister had an infamous rant calling the vendors of the city all kinds of names, labeling them, guys. And you know some of the labels because I know some of you some of you listen to this Thursday night publication. I want to be nice here and politically correct. So I'm going to call it a Thursday night publication and I didn't listen myself, but I was told that the vendors of castries were given all types of labels that were very untoward. And according to Ras Ipa, this stemmed from a conversation that he had with a certain developer in charge of the cruise porting facilities in St. Lucia, well, in the north of the island. And this conversation centered around absolving some of the vendors from fees or arrears that the oh wow, already we have somebody on the line. Somebody's already jumping in to call. Give us a minute. Give us a minute. We're going to open up the phone lines and we're going to talk about, we're going to allow you an opportunity to speak about what's going on. But give us a minute. So, as I was saying, those of you who caught the Thursday night rant, which happened, which was, well, I'm trying to put it nicely, guys. Bear with me. This Thursday night rant came from a government minister. And some of you actually caught this publication. So the reason for this rant is because the president of the Vendors Association, according to him, had contacted or had discussed certain, how do I put this? He had certain discussions with a certain developer in charge of the cruise porting facilities in the north of the island and also in Soufrière regarding arrears owed by some of the vendors in the Castries market. And these discussions apparently did not involve a certain government minister who felt offended, I should say. Guys, I don't really know how the gentleman felt, but I'm assuming that he felt offended, that he was not privy or not part of those discussions. You see, as you know, the developer in question is currently engaged in rehabilitating the Castries Vendors Arcade. Now, I'm going to tell you straight here, guys. Certain promises were made to the vendors through meetings and conversations had with the Vendors Association president and executive. These agreements were concluded before the construction of the new Vendors Arcade and Boardwalk in Castries commenced. Now, according to the Vendors Association president, Mr. Ras Ipa Isaac, things are not going according to plan. Because according to Mr. Isaac, when the negotiations were concluded, it was agreed that one, the vendors' livelihoods would not be interrupted. So that means that they would not send the vendors home and demolish the arcade, and the vendors would have to wait until the arcade was finished for them to resume operations. The original deal was that the new arcade would commence, spaces would be developed for the vendors, and they would be moved in a phased approach so as to not interrupt their operations. Now, notice I'm being very diplomatic in the way I present this case, guys. One, the vendors were promised that the new booths would have more space. Two, they were promised that as each new booth was completed, a group of vendors would be relocated from the original arcade to the new one. And it will continue like this until all of the vendors are relocated, and then, and only then, after every single vendor at the arcade was relocated to the new space, then the vendors' arcade, the original building, would be demolished. But if you, like me, passed through the city of Castries this morning, you would notice that there were workmen demolishing the vendors' arcade. But there were no vendors operating at the new space. Why is that? Well, according to according to Mr. Isaac, the vendors have been sent home. They were asked to vacate by May 15th. Also, according to Mr. Isaac, everything that he had negotiated with the developer for in favor of the vendors, all of that had been reneged upon, meaning that the developer is not keeping their end of the bargain. Somebody's trying to call. Hold off for a while, guys. Hold off. Let me give you the story. Don't call just yet. Don't call just yet. Let me give you the facts. So, in a nutshell, the vendors have been left to fend for themselves. Mr. Isaac revealed that initially the vendors were told that they would not have to pay higher fees for the booths and that they would have more space. But after a quick perusal of the new facility, it seems that the facilities being built by GPH are smaller than the original arcade. And to add salt to the wound, the minister is now saying that the rent will be increased. Mr. Isaac also let a cat out of the bag. He said that certain officials from the city council bypassed the Vendors Association completely, going behind his back and speaking privately, holding private meetings with some of the vendors individually. He said, when he tried to warn the vendors and said, don't do this, don't meet with these people on your own, the association is already negotiating on your behalf, tell them to contact the association. Certain members, certain vendors did not listen, and they attended the meetings. And now, according to Mr. Isaac, he was thrown under the bus. Everything he negotiated was reneged upon because the City Council and GPH embarked on an operation of divide and conquer. So now the vendors have been divided. The association has been bypassed and the vendors have been conquered. But there's something else, guys. Something even worse that doesn't simply affect the vendors at the Castries Arcade. No, it affects the vendors everywhere in the boulevard, everywhere in the city. The rents for vending in the city have increased exponentially. How are the vendors to ply their trade if they are to pay exorbitant prices simply to operate? The vendors who were relocated to the Bedo Park area, the booths in that area, they were promised better facilities. They were promised better amenities. But all they have been given are higher prices to pay. Vendors at the Anchorage facility, Anchorage on the Bay, these individuals, I'm told, are being asked to pay higher prices that run in the thousands. And when I say thousands, guys, I mean thousands monthly. Thousands. The cheapest booth at Anchorage, I believe, was $1,200 thereabout. Vendors operating from that facility, they're leaving. Why? Because rumor has it they are facing a price hike. Vendors who did not get a space at Anchorage were provided vending booths similar to what was built at the Bedo Park facility, but these booths are built behind Anchorage, and they too come at a pretty penny. Now, guys, some of these facilities have no running water. Some of them have no electricity. But vendors are being asked to pay from $450 upwards a month. Remember, well, I didn't give that information, but let me say it now. Vendors who had trays by the roadside were only asked to pay $3 a day for operating in the city. I'm told that $3 has multiplied exponentially and is now in the double figures. Now, I'm reminded of a certain campaign. Was it a campaign speech or was it a victory speech? I'm not sure. But didn't a certain government minister promise that nobody would touch the vendors? Didn't that self-same minister say that vendors give a city its character? Didn't he direct people to the bigger cities like New York and wherever he has traveled? I don't know. Didn't he say that when you walk through those big cities in the States, that the vendors gave the city its character? Why, oh why, are the vendors being touched so much? Because he promised that nobody would touch the vendors. Or am I wrong, guys? Am I remembering it incorrectly? I need you guys to remind me. This self-same minister on her Thursday night show, I am told because I didn't listen to the show, was the one labeling the vendors all types of things simply because the vendors were attempting to negotiate for a reprieve. A reprieve, guys. Because according to the vendors, ever since the COVID-19 pandemic, they have been feeling it. You remember that during the COVID-19 pandemic, the country was shut down, meaning no visitors were coming, no cruise ships were coming, and so the vendors were unable to ply their trade. So of course, they were feeling the pinch. But today, we know the issue with tourism numbers. We know that the vendors are not happy because when the tourist boats come, they come to Point Seraphine, they hardly ever visit the vendors' arcade. Even if they anchor at La Place Carénage, when they come off the ships, they board the taxis and they all head down to Soufrière. And so there is very little time or opportunity for the vendors to go through the arcade and see what for the visitors to go through the arcade and see what the vendors have on display. But guys, that means that the vendors have not been back to normal. Because you know the aim after COVID was to get back to normal, right? So the vendors have not had the opportunity to recover. And GPH came and promised the vendors so many things. GPH said, and I quote, they were going to provide the vendors with a new facility. It would be airy, it would be warm, it would be larger, it would be more palatable to the eyes. It would connect to La Place Carénage so that when the visitors come off the ship, they would have to pass through the arcade and then go to get their taxi, because that was what the president of the Vendors Association saw when he visited another Caribbean tourist destination. So he said, if we're going to get a new arcade, then we might as well get it like that. And in anticipation of this new facility, the vendors went about training themselves in the use of point of sale, cashless systems, and customer service and all of that jazz, because they wanted to ensure that when these new facilities came about, they were prepared to take advantage. But the arrears that they had from COVID, they wanted a reprieve. And who can blame the vendors for wanting a reprieve? If it was you, if it was me, we would want a reprieve too. And so they attempted to negotiate, and then they got labeled. Somebody on the live is saying, Angie, why are you pleading for the vendors? Ask them to put it in their pipe and smoke it. Well, you see, as much as I have mixed feelings about what is happening to the vendors, I cannot, in all honesty, ignore their plight, because they are St. Lucians too. They listen to the show as well. And they were bamboozled, hoodwinked, and cheated, just like everyone else. So we need to show a little sympathy. We understand where the vendors are coming from. Guys, if it were you or me, let's be empathetic to the vendor's plight. I know some of you are out there saying, well, because I've heard it from other people. Some people are saying, well, let them, like this one, put it in their pipe and smoke it. Some other people are saying, but they were the ones jumping up saying the mood is red. So now that it is their bank accounts that is red, let them deal with it. And a lot of you might feel this way. But they are St. Lucians just like us. And if we don't stand up for something, then we are going to fall for anything. It is a sorry, sad state of affairs, St. Lucia, when the common man can no longer depend on the government to earn their living. And these are not people, don't get me wrong, these are not people asking for handouts, you know. These are hardworking individuals who source their goods, and they come and they ply their trade, and they are attempting to make an honest living. An honest living. They are not affecting anyone, and they are as important as the officials, in my mind, of the SLTA, because they are ambassadors for our island. When those visitors get off the cruise ship, the vendors are the first responders. They are the ones that would offer these visitors a piece of St. Lucia to take home with them, something that will cement their love for the island. Something that will always remind them of those few days or that day they spent in paradise. And these vendors are catching their royal because all of the promises made to them, all of the negotiations that the association did on their behalf have been undermined via unscrupulous means from people who were supposed to have their best interest at heart. Again, the video says, nobody will touch my vendors. It's there for all to hear and for all to see. This is sad, St. Lucia. When officials from the Castries City Council go around calling individual members, individual vendors to meetings, bypass the established association, an association that was convened specifically to allow the vendors. We have a caller on the line. I'm going to have to open the phone lines, guys. People are just calling. Go ahead, caller. You are on the air. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Angie, and good afternoon to your listeners.
How you doing?
I'm going good. Hanging in there. I want to give my take on the vendor situation in Castries. And my deceased grandmother was a vendor. So I grew up in the environment, the inner circle of vending. Because my grandmother, may her soul rest in peace, that's how she sent all of us to school, vending. And she was an original vendor. She didn't only ply her trade only in St. Lucia. She went as far as Martinique, Venezuela, Curacao, all those countries, South American countries, vending. That's how she sent us to school. This is how she educated my mom, vending.
Okay.
Her last vending stint was in Martinique. She vended for over like 50 something years, something like that. And I remember as a little boy, I would go during the August holidays, I would go to Martinique with her, and she would take me all around on the streets of Martinique vending. So I have an appreciation for vendors. I have an affinity to vendors. So what I see happening there is very, very unfortunate because, you know, when St. Lucians have been warned, some of us don't listen. They don't listen until, like they say, who can't hear will feel.
So you're saying they didn't hear and now they are feeling.
Now they are feeling the hard way. They are feeling the consequences. Because this whole GPH arrangement from the outset, Angie, was bad. And I would say this without no fear of contradiction, it was bad. You cannot tell me that you're giving away your ports to a foreign entity, a foreign company, and up to like today, nobody knows what you agreed to with GPH.
That's true.
There's nothing that we can see in black and white that has been presented to us as the taxpayer, as the stakeholders of this country, to say, okay, our government will show us that dignity and respect and say, you know what? I owe it to the people, the population, the citizens, to give full disclosure as to the contents of the agreement, what our government agreed to GPH, to agreed and negotiated on our behalf with GPH. And so the vendors now are feeling it, because my sources tells me that there was no consultation with the vendors. My sources also told me that the way the CCC, the Castries Constituency Council, managed this thing, it was like a divide and rule. And that's what they do, you know, Angie. They divide and they rule.
When you say no consultation, because I was informed that the vendors attended meetings. So are you saying that during those meetings it wasn't it was just come so that I can inform you what's going on? Is that why you saying? Is that what you're saying? No consultation, as in the vendors had no input.
The vendors had no input, and you hit the nail on the head. And I was about to say that. So they invited selected vendors to those meetings. Mind you, let us not lose sight of that. There's a vendors association, an active St. Lucia Dry Goods Vendors Association, which is headed by Peter Rasaipa Isaac. And so, still, from my information and my little research told me my little sources told me that selected vendors were invited to those meetings, and they didn't say anything. They were not even briefed or given an idea as to the agenda. Because if you invited me to a meeting,
So
Angie,
they
you
didn't
have to
even
tell me
know
what
what
the
they
meeting
were
is about.
going. So they didn't know what they were coming to do. They were just said. They were just told come to a meeting. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
they were just to come to a meeting, not even given the opportunity to know exactly what the meeting is about. So you
Wow.
invited me to a meeting, and I don't even know what the meeting is about.
Right.
So
So
I'm just
just
going to the
so
meeting.
just come. I want to see you.
Come, I want to see you, and that's
Wow.
what happened. And remember, I said selected vendors were invited to those meetings, and so
So not even the whole kit and caboodle. Just people that they knew they could just certain people.
manipulate.
Okay. All right.
And you
Wow.
remember, there's an association, and the association president was not certain meetings he was not even privy to. He did not even know there were certain meetings being held. Could you imagine that?
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
you have an
Wow.
association. That's what my information, my investigation revealed. So you have an association, the Vendors Association, which is active, which is current. You're inviting vendors to a meeting, but the association president does not even know of those meetings. And
Well.
if I'm wrong, if my information is off, anybody, if Peter Ras Isaac is listening, or anybody could get in contact with him, he can call the show and correct me if my information is off. Because I do not, on this platform, we do not spread mistruths, we do not lie. It's all about transparency and accountability.
That's true, and thank you for keeping it that way.
My information also is that there was no plan of relocation. So they never even told the vendor, had any plan or offered a plan to the vendors of relocation. So if you're doing a
Wow.
development, Angie, and persons have been affected, you must find a place for them, an alternative location. My information is the vendors were not given any alternative location. So they
So
were just told
to vacate.
to vacate, leave the vendors arcade, and also my information is from a reliable source is that the Castries Constituency Council told the vendors just vend anyway, find a place and just vend.
But caller, isn't that the same Castries Constituency Council who said to the people that they don't want them vending on certain streets in the city?
Exactly. So my
Isn't that
information
the
is that they were
same?
told.
Isn't that the same Castries Constituency Council who has limited vending in the boulevard to 3 days a week?
Yes, it is. That's the same Castries Constituency Council. And they're now telling the vendors in the arcade, just find a place to vend and just vend. So here
Wow.
it is that they're trying to regulate vending according to them, but they're telling the vendors in the arcade, from my information, my sources told me, to find vending alternative vending locations and just vend anywhere in the city of Castries.
But if you are telling the vendors to vacate, aren't you supposed to have a designated area for them
Of
to
course,
operate?
of course. And again, we're not bringing into the politics in this thing because I remember when under the last administration, the last Alan Shastri administration, when they were doing the market, remember the market
Yes.
refurbishment?
Mm-hmm.
Before any vendor was given notice to vacate for the time being, they were given alternative vending locations.
Mm-hmm.
With decency, with organization, Mayor Peterson Francis ensured that the vendors got alternative locations to vend in the interim whilst the construction was ongoing. In this,
If I remember correctly, at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, but I could recall the vendors being relocated to the Laplace Carenage car park area there.
exactly. Exactly, and a makeshifting was done for them with
Right,
shelter and everything for away from the against the elements,
right.
if rain or sun, and they were placed there temporarily with And there were even temporary washing facilities provided and everything.
I
Very
remember.
organized,
I
very
remember.
structured and everything. Once the market refurbishments started. And when the market the project finished, they were brought back into the market.
Yes, I remember
And not
that.
one vendor was dislocated. Not one vendor was there. The livelihoods were placed on the breadline. Every vendor continued to vend and make their little money and to pay their bills and what have you. In this situation, my sources tell me nothing like that was done. No vending location was given to them. They were just told they have to leave because GPH is going to break down the vendors arcade and start some new project. And they were told just go home. So here it is now. Those vendors now are being displaced. They have some of them have their mortgages. They have their house rent to pay. They have the kids to send to school. When Wasco and Loose Lake is calling on the knocking on their door for payments, light bill and water bill, they have to find the money. But now they're on the breadline. Those vendors are on the breadline. That is what you call the heights of wickedness. And I remembered this same housing and local government minister, Richard Frederick, and I can call his name because it's factual, what I'm going to say here. He was one of those said he would champion the cause of vendors and the plight of vendors, and vendors are important. Vending it brings a character of the city, and when you go to Manhattan, all you see is vending, and he's going to protect the vendors. And look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. My information also is, Angie, and your listeners, that the booths that they building, GPH is doing, is even smaller than what obtains currently at the vendors act.
Yes, Mr. Isaac did say that.
So my information also
But
is,
also, hold on, he said that initially they were promised that the booths would be bigger than what they currently occupied.
and the booths now that the booths that GPS is supposed to be building for the vendors is smaller than what they have now.
Yeah.
So what is the purpose? What is the purpose? So you say you want to improve vending, the vendors' condition, but you're building vending booths that are smaller than what they have currently. What is the purpose, Archie?
Maybe they're going to invite the vendors that are vending in other places in the city to take up residence in this new arcade. You don't think so, Kola?
Well, maybe because my information also is that the rent will be more. When GPH finishes this thing, this vendors, so-called vendors arcade, my information is that the rent will be so high that most of the vendors who are currently at the old arcade will no longer be able to get in there and vend. And you know the politics of this whole situation.
Well, I mean, according to if the minister's rant, Thursday night rant, is to be believed, somebody told me one of the things he said was they are going to pay. And that they're going to pay more for the facility. Now,
exactly.
Now, I am inclined to believe this, and I'll tell you why, caller. Anchorage on the Bay, the prices that the vendors were offered, the vendors that were originally there, they were supposed to get first priority to go back into that facility. The prices there were through the roof. The vendors could not afford to take those booths. So if you go through Anchorage right now, I doubt you will find any vendor who was originally meant to go into that facility. Secondly,
for the benefit of your listeners and viewers, give an idea as to what the building, the Anchorage thing, because a lot of people might hear the word.
Okay, so Anchorage on the Bay is the new vending facility that was built opposite the Castries car park. That would be Massey Waterfront, because a lot of people may not know where the car park is.
And that is the same spot where the old marketing board was.
Right. So yes, the old marketing board building. Right. Yes. So there were vendors there. They were just in some little wooden booths, and they were built this new facility modern amenities, and they were told that they would be given first priority by the former UWP administration. These vendors too were relocated to the a car park next to La Place Carénage. But when the building was finished, the prices that they were offered was so exorbitant that they could not take those booths. They could not afford it. Now,
And if
also,
and what happened subsequent to that is because those vendors now could not have afforded the rent by this current labor administration. Let us be precise, so that persons don't get misunderstood. They don't misunderstand us. What happened is they then had this administration, this SLP administration, under this current housing minister and local government minister and the Castries Constituency Council. Because those vendors could not have afforded the rent, they had no choice but to build more huts
yes,
to accommodate those vendors.
and if you go, and if you go behind Anchorage, you're going to see a set of huts that look similar to the Bido Park facility, right? So a lot of the vendors who were originally at, or who were supposed to be at Anchorage, they now operate from those huts behind the Anchorage building. Now, also, the Jeremy Street Plaza. My information is, and I've seen it for myself, very few of the original occupants of that facility are still operating there after the upgrade. Because as soon as the building was completed, the rents were raised.
And Angie, it's interesting that you brought up the Darling Road Plaza.
No, Jeremy Street
Plaza. It's interesting that you brought that one up, that location up, because my information is there's an individual, I will not mention his name, who owns 2 or 3 shops, vending shops or stores, whatever you want to call it, at that location. And that individual happens to be a close friend of the Minister of Government.
Well, I wouldn't venture that far, because I think I have an idea of who you are referring to. But when last I was there, I only noticed this person operating in one spot. So I don't know if there are others, but that needs to be investigated. So please allow me to make my inquiries before I say this on the show. Of course, you know I have to stick to the precepts of accountability. We lost that call. Accountability, transparency, truth, and integrity. I think the caller is trying to call back. Caller, are you there? Hello? Caller, are you there? Hello? Okay. We've lost this call. I don't know what's here. We've lost the call. So, yeah. It's a trend, guys. Caller is calling. Hello? Are you there, caller? I don't know what's going on. Hello? I think we... All right. I'm going to have to restart this. Give me a minute, guys. There seems to be an issue with the internet. It's very slow, I guess. But permit me to just restart our... all right, there we go. Yeah, so I was saying to you guys, the trend seems to be that whenever the government has offered vendors updated facilities, better amenities, it always comes with an updated price. And sometimes the prices, they don't match the facilities. and vendors are being forced to pay through the nose. Oh, we're missing so many calls. Vendors are being forced to pay through the nose, guys, because they cannot afford these high prices. Okay, so I missed 2 calls a while ago, guys. You can call back now. The phone lines are open, 572-3473. In the meantime, let me give voice to some of the comments that are coming in fast and furious on the WhatsApp platform. Says here, didn't Shas and Guy warn them? So, okay, we have another call coming in. Good afternoon. Oh, can you hear me now, caller?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I apologize to you and your listeners. I was probably in a bad location, very bad location. So I
Yeah.
was saying, Angie, when you on the Jeremy Street Plaza location,
Yeah,
and I was telling,
hold off on that, caller, because this I need to investigate this before we talk about this on the show. Of course, we have to stick to the precepts of accountability, transparency, truth. More importantly, truth and integrity. But these claims need to be investigated, and I would not encourage you to repeat them on the show.
that's fair enough. That is
Yeah.
okay. That is fair enough. And I think I take your guidance
Mm-hmm.
in so doing. So I was saying, Angie, to make a long story short, what's happening to the vendors is very unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the manner in which they were treated with total contempt and disrespect, no regard for them. The association was not fully involved in this whole project sufficiently. It was a situation where there was divide and rule
Yeah.
in order to so that the powers that be could get their way
Mm-hmm.
insofar as this whole project. And it begs the question, why? Couldn't Slasper again? I will always ask that question. All what we see in there, this so-called broad walk, I don't see the significance of it because I think Slasper is capable enough and to have done that project. I don't see it doesn't wow me. I don't see anything new. I don't see what it will what that so-called broad walk will attract. It's just I just see like a bus shelter. That's what I'm seeing there, like a bus shelter in some rural community. For me, that's what I see. It doesn't tell me that there was any thought process put in. There's not any thought process involved in the whole project. And by and large, the people are lamenting and saying, look, why put us through this?
Yeah.
You know, you gave away our ports bad enough to a foreign company, GPH. You do not tell us what you agreed to with GPH. That's bad enough. And look at how the vendors are treated with total disrespect,
Yeah.
scant regard, no kind of consideration for their livelihood. They were sent home and said, listen, go home and we have to do this thing. Just go home, man. How are those vendors going to make ends meet at the end of the day? Most of them have, like I said earlier, they have mortgages, they have their rent to pay, they have their kids to send to school, they have to eat, they have to live.
Yeah.
And it's just unconscionable how this SLP administration went about doing this thing with the vendors. And like I said, I have an affinity to vendors. My grandmother was a vendor, so I know what it is for people to have humble beginnings and for their livelihoods to be taken away from them in the manner in which it was done. And we have to speak out. I mean, the vendors, they themselves can speak out, but some of them are fearful of political victimization, so they will not say anything. The president of the association, from my information, he has basically given up because he said they found a way to divide the vendors association. And so uh, when you talk about those things, like those projects, they deem you to be an anti-progress, enemy of the state, you anti-progress,
All kinds
not
of things.
realizing
All kinds of
all,
labels, caller. All kinds of labels.
all kinds of labels because you're speaking up and you want to see things done right in your country. And the way this thing is going on there, Angie, I'm scared. I'm scared for the vendors because half of those vendors, poor job, they will not be able to afford the new rent, so they will be left out. What do they do next? What is the next move for those vendors? Where's the employment for them? How can the system absorb those vendors? Because there will be fallouts.
Yeah.
Half of those vendors will not be able to go back at that vendors arcade anymore. And so
Yeah.
what do they do? How do they pay their bills and meet their commitments, their
Because
monthly
speaking
commitments?
speaking of that new facility, one of the things that the president of the association, Mr. Isaac, was saying was that initially GPH had agreed to a rent freeze, that they would not raise the rents, that the rents would stay at the current threshold. But I mean, because went behind his back, I don't see that coming to fruition. I think, I believe that the rents will be raised, and based on the minister's rant, I mean, he said they have to pay, so I'm guessing he means that the rents will be raised.
The rents will be raised, the rents will increase, but you know what came to mind?
Mm-hmm.
The political victimization will find itself there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I'm telling you, it's
Mm-hmm.
just natural that friends, family, and foreigners will come into play.
And not
Particularly,
only that, and now that you say political victimization, there was a situation with this vendor. Do you guys recall where this self same minister went on his show and put out so much of this vendor's personal business? Do you recall that?
I recall that vividly, clearly, and that was the most despicable thing that I've ever witnessed in my history. Because here it is that you had a vendor, and we can call her name Miss Ursula Farnes. She was all over the media, so it's no secret here. Miss Ursula Farnes was a vendor. She in previously in another life she campaigned for that same said government minister, and
Oh, wow.
because she decided to depart ways or part ways with that government minister and pledge her political allegiance to another party, that government minister decided to go after her and expose her rental arrangements with Castries Constituency Council publicly, which is wrong, ethically wrong, and he went after her, disclosed certain documents that should have been private on a talk show. Yet still that government minister still remains a government minister, owning St. Lucia that this thing happens. Had it been in a situation where that government minister was a minister of government in Barbados, I can tell you without fear of contradiction, Angie, he would have been fired
Hmm.
or dismissed, owning St. Lucia. And so the political victimization, we cannot say it will not happen. It will happen. Because
Yeah.
let me tell you something, Angie. The way this SLP administration operates, scratch my back and I scratch yours. So all the vendors you see that who have been displaced now at the vendors arcade, I guarantee you, Angie, and your listeners, half of them will not be vending at arcade anymore.
That
You
the
will
new
see new
facility, you
sets
mean?
of people aligned or closely connected to government ministers vending there. Mark my words when I tell you that.
Hmm.
And you can take that to the bank.
Well,
And so,
I'm not gonna dispute that because I've seen it. I mean, if you go now, there are so many blatant examples. For example, the Bedo Park facility. There is a certain roti shop. That facility, we were told, was built specifically for the vendors who operated around um, the Printry area.
mhm.
But there's a certain roti shop there that was never
Owner,
around the Printry.
exactly. And that same vendor, Miss Ursula Fanis, aka commonly known as Joyce Lane. She was vending around that Prince Tree, that Vido Park area. And that
Yes.
same government minister went on his talk show and said as long as he's a government minister, she will never get a vending booth. That was said publicly, Angie. That was said publicly by a government minister who said that that particular vendor, Ursula Fanis, as long as he's a government minister, she will never get an opportunity to vend. This is a lady who pays her taxes as a citizen of St. Lucia, whether directly or indirectly. She's a citizen of St. Lucia, and you're saying as a government minister that as long as you have the authority, she will never be able to make a living in her own country. How that could be right, Angie?
Cannot.
You see the problem that we face in this country? You see the problem that we face in this country? And you're telling me that St. Lucians will stay there and say nothing? Look at, I mean, by now, Angie, I would have expected the vendors themselves to have had a protest. Because at the end of the day, it's their livelihoods which is at stake. Right now in the United States of America, there's a strike. The train operators operating the Long Island Railroad, they want more money, and their union are negotiating with the powers that be, and there's a deadlock, there's a stalemate. Right now they're on strike and they're demanding what's justified to them. And so right now in New York in particular, thousands of commuters are being affected. Some commuters could not go to work today because those train operators demanded that they want a new contract, demanded that the issues are being dealt with, and they're not relenting. And so the vendors in St. Lucia should do just the same. Do a protest. Go and protest outside the vendors arcade and stand up and speak for what's rightfully yours. Because at the end of the day, those vendors are taxpayers. They are St. Lucians. They are citizens. And they have a right to earn a living in the country. And no government minister must deprive them of that. And if you want to do development, we're not anti-development, but do it in the right way, Angie. Do it respectfully.
Caller, I want to ask you a question. Do you expect to see the vendors protesting?
No, I don't expect that, and I'll tell you why. The politics will come into play because there are some vendors who believe they love their party, they love the party more than themselves. And so they would not protest because they don't want to offend the party, not realizing that government ministers get their paychecks every month, their big allowances, and they can pay their bills and live comfortably. They can eat their steak if they want to twice a week. And they are the ones who will suffer. So they don't want to offend the party. So they will not protest. They will not protest. But I'm saying to St. Lucia, vendors play a pivotal role in our country's development because they are creating their own employment. Because not every person, not every citizen, Angie, can get a job in the public service in government.
That's
so
true.
if you're creating your own employment, you have to be supported by your government of the day. And if your government of the day is victimizing you, is depriving you of earning a living in your country, then we are in serious trouble in St. Lucia, Angie.
Well, caller, I would love to see the vendors behave like those railroad workers you are describing in the US, but I know better. They're not going to say anything. If it was somebody else coming to their rescue, then there would be riots in the streets. But for the vendors themselves to come out, somebody told me, caller, that after one of the meetings that the vendors were called to, the vendors congregated in a certain spot and were discussing how unfair the terms that they were handed were. So my question is, if you're standing outside discussing how unfair this is, didn't you bring that up during the meeting you were just attending?
My source told me that too, Angie. My source told me some of those same vendors who had the meeting, they said nothing. They agreed. They kept quiet, and they said. And as you know, Angie, there's a saying that goes like this: silence is consent.
It's
So if you say
consent.
nothing, it means that you agree.
That's right.
So they said nothing at the meeting. I was told, from my sources told me, after the meeting was convened, after the meeting was done, they formed little groups complaining. But it makes no sense after the fact. If you were at a meeting and you do not agree to the terms or the conditions or what you're hearing, you should speak up and say, look, I don't agree to this. And this is what I'm suggesting. But you cannot sit in a meeting, say nothing. It's like you agree if you do not say nothing. And when the meeting is finished, then you form little groups talking, complaining. It makes no sense. And that's exactly what happened at one of those meetings with the vendors. And again, I said, a few vendors were invited. And my source also told me, Angie, that the way those vendors were invited, certain officials of the Cashers Constituency Council came to those vendors and secretly invited them to the meeting. You understand what's happening, Angie?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I made the statement earlier by saying it was a divide and rule.
Yeah.
To dismantle the
divide and
association.
divide and conquer, actually. Divide
Sorry?
and you call that divide and conquer.
Right. And once they realize, the powers that be, once they realize they dismantle the Vendors Association, there's no strength, because as you know, Angie, unity, there's strength
in unity, yeah.
There's strength in numbers. So once they realize that the Vendors Association is dismantled, is divided, this is what happened. So now they have their leeway to do absolutely anything and anything. And so the long and short run of it, the vendors in totality are the ones affected, whether red, yellow, blue, purple. And so today, as we speak, the vendors are at the home, they cannot pay their bills, they cannot pay their mortgages, and who suffers? The very same vendors, whether you're red, yellow, purple, blue. I'm saying to St. Lucia, and I'll end here, just this situation alone tells you the kind of governance we have in St. Lucia. Just this situation alone tells you the kind of government that we voted for last year, December. Just this situation tells you the kind of government ministers that we have. And so, we in for a rough ride, Angie. When I say rough ride, St. Lucia and St. Lucians are in for a rough ride because we voted a government 16-1, and the arrogance will get worse and worse and worse. And at the end of the day, who pays the price? You, me, and the rest of St. Lucia. Have a blessed day, Angie.
Thank you so much for that, caller. Guys, let me tell you, we'll take a quick commercial break at this point, and we're going to come back with more on this serious issue. We'll be right back.
You already know the power of Licks products on your clothes and household. You Licks your whites and colored clothes, leaving them fresh and scented. You Licks your dishes and left your hands protected with vitamin E. You Licks your floors, even Licks your toilet. Now expand and bring you 3 new scents in our fabric softener: Balmy Sunshine, Summer Sunshine, and Thousand Flowers. And Licks those stains off of colored clothes with Licks Colors and Bleach. Licks went even further with Body Care Body Soap Bars in deodorant and antibacterial. So Licks tiredness and bacteria out and refresh your tired body. Your product's giving you Licks? Then choose Licks from G'day Distribution Inc. Available at all leading supermarkets.
All right, guys. So we have a caller on the line. Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Angie. What's going on in St. Lucia?
Well, I'm just trying to find out myself.
I saw the lady calling my Prime Minister. I called the lady for me to just grab the lady from my phone because I cannot do it.
You want to take the lady off your phone, caller? Why? Why are you so mean?
Yeah, because you cannot call my Prime Minister help us. Your prime minister put you in there, you calling them to help you. What kind of relationship?
But if he is the one who created the problem, caller, maybe he should be the one to fix it.
But MG, that problem cannot fix because that prime minister cannot stand to leg.
Well,
Okay, there is too much. There, okay, if you only kill 2 hour dog and all those pit bulls around you, you have to put your tail behind your leg.
wow.
You have to put your yes. You know all those pit bulls, all those German Shepherd there. If you make a mistake, they'll just eat you. You just have to go with those German Shepherd. You know, let them do whatever they want to do.
Flow.
Okay, and you watch that. When John Compton was building the dam, before he started to build the dam, he started to build houses for the people up the side. He put
No, that was in Bele, New Development Bele.
Yes. When John Compton was building the waterfront in Caspi's Canary, before he do that, he take the people and put them in Cicero. Some of them he put them by Marigot side there, Fromage. Okay. When Michael was fixing up the market, he put the people by the old fire station. Okay. Now, why those SLP, those bullies, not those bullies, just dragging the people out, okay, like leeches, okay, and you think those people wrong. What about the CBC, that minister of Maurice Marshall, cannot put little vending booths there for the people to vend there to make the little money?
Well, because these facilities are being used as car parks.
Okay, car parks of what?
Okay.
You know, you can stop the car park for 2 months and let the people vend it because they have very little money to pay. You know. Now what do you want them to do? Walk Jeremy Street at night, to see if they can make money to pay for to send the children to school. That's what you want them to do? You know? That's not good on G. This is bad government.
Yep.
You know?
It's
You're making the people...
It's very unfair, caller. It's very unfair because if you're going to displace me, then you should have a place provided. Like you said, when the dam was being built, provisions were made for the residents in the new development in Bel Air and some of them in Marigot. When the anchorage was being built, or when the market was being built, provisions were made at the La Place Carénage car park for these vendors. So, like you said, there are open spaces in the city where the vendors could have been relocated. Why aren't they being relocated in these areas?
Maybe, it's not good. It's not good.
No, it's not.
No. It's a time to suffer and situation. Do not let $500 buy your vote. And next thing, they buy your vote like you exchange hand with slavery.
Yeah.
Okay? That's exchange hand with slave masters. Okay? GPH is the biggest slave master. GPH pay the local sell you out. Nothing. The same thing with that place there when you go to the hospital.
You're talking about Bannans Bay.
Bannans Bay.
Nobody's even talking about Bannans Bay anymore, caller. It's almost as if
Okay,
Ghanaians there was you know what it's like, caller. It's like they took a big eraser and they just erased everything, and everything is fine now. Nobody's talking about.
You know what my auntie said to me in Beaufort? I listened to my auntie and I said, wow. My auntie said to me, we don't want no cruise spot in Beaufort because I will lose my house. I said to my auntie, if you get a proper house, yes, you have a nice house, but if you get a better one, somewhere else, what you want again? He said, no, I don't support that because I will lose my house in the money. I said,
Wow.
okay, auntie, that's this is what you want, you will get what you want. But remember, you keep your grandkids back. You, auntie, you keep your grandchildren back.
So this
Okay?
person is saying they don't want the cruise port because they will lose their home.
Yes, that's what my auntie said to me.
But isn't this individual aware that government cannot simply um, take you off a piece of property without compensating you for your home, or your if the person owns the property, for their home and their property, and then relocating them?
I don't know if you know that, Angie. Angie, when Larry Bernard wanted to buy Roseau,
Mm-hmm.
Paul was in the office. Larry said, Quentin said, okay, I will give you Roseau, but you have to give the people proper housing. Okay, you have to give them 3 bedroom up because they have children.
Mm-hmm.
When Laurie heard that deal crush,
Hmm.
okay, Quentin said, you want that person will get it, but you have to give the people proper housing. Okay, you can't give them a 1 bedroom house, no.
Because
Okay,
that area is notorious for poor housing conditions.
Yes. Because when I've been in that area there, when I grew up there in the 80s, there was a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
Paving Stone Road. All the houses there have the number on it, 25, 26. You can go to house 26, you will get to house 26. Now, there's nothing like that. But when I talk to my cousin and my nephew, when I see those little alleyways from the street, cars will drive down and turn in the end. Okay,
What area are we talking about?
I'm talking about in the Roseau cell, in the Roseau Valley, in Roseau Papa.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, that places you can drive down in the 80s and turn in the end and come back the and gee, every houses there have a house number 25, 26. All the houses.
Mm-hmm.
If you go there right now, you'll see maybe one have on it. Those houses, the structural houses, strong. All the people have to do, stop blocking the street and build up because the government cannot help them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the government cannot help them, and they will be crying and vote that same government over and over and crying and crying and crying. Okay, those that have sense will have sense, and don't have no sense will stay without sense. Angie, okay, I love my country, Angie, but my situation, okay, my age right now, I can't come to St. Lucia tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, I have my free children in America. Okay, I prefer that in my free children hand.
Wow.
Okay, yes. Okay, nothing. I don't miss nothing in St. Lucia, Angie. I don't miss nothing.
Not even the beach, caller? Nothing?
I don't need the beach because I live in the beach.
Wow.
Because of water change, Angie. Because of water come sweet? No. I don't miss that with Angie.
That is very sad, caller. That is
Angie,
extremely
listen.
sad.
Angie, listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Cancer killing people in St. Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
Cancer, accident, and gun violence.
Yeah.
Okay? I live in New York. If somebody gets shot by my house, people passing there, the same way, nobody not offered to pass
Mm-hmm.
by my house. If somebody gets shot by my house. In St. Lucia, if somebody gets shot in the street or Jeremy Street, people will not pass there easily.
That's true. I can tell you that. I, for one, will not be passing there.
Okay. You know, I love my country. Don't get me wrong. I love my country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't miss the mango. I don't miss none of that.
Wow.
Everything I will think about Angie, I get it in America. I get it in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
But she must not buy for so much money. I can get a pound of CMOS, one CMOS for $19. Why I will come to Solution and bring CMOS back here for what? All the CMOS we're putting in Europe, we get it here the same way, family CMOS.
Mm-hmm.
And you, what is St. Lucia?
So you don't miss your dashing and your breadfruit. You don't miss your yam and your push.
And you want me to go to the store and send you a box of dashing and yam, hey?
That's okay.
I'm cheaper,
That's
I'm
okay.
cheaper too.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm cheaper too.
That's okay.
I'm getting the best food for $1.99 a pound.
Wow.
Okay, I'm getting the saltfish, I'm getting the smoked herring, and gee, what? Everything. My father was a farmer. My father was a fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't miss none of those things. Right now, I'm trying to eat different because I don't want to eat the same starchy food to get sick.
Right.
You know, I'm eating different. I am getting vegetables here all year long. I have choices, Angie. I have choices. If I want to use seed oil, if I want to use vegetable oil, I have choices. You know, sometimes in Russia, it's not cheap to eat badly, not healthy.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we are in a sorry, I can tell you, for our caller, we are in a sorry, sad state of affairs. And things don't seem to be getting any better anytime soon. And it's very difficult to find something positive. It's very difficult because there are so many people going through it. And the vendors are just one in so many. So many things are going wrong in St. Lucia. We don't even know which problem to tackle first. But all we can do is inform the people and let them know what's going on and try to see if we can just enable change by highlighting the situations that people find themselves in. So thank you very much for weighing in on this situation, caller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you for that. Guys, let's turn our attention to the Facebook platform. Somebody says, if it was Shas in office, the vendors would be out there protesting. Do you think that's true? Another person says, Angie, you hear what he said? No one, do not say to him they voted for him because he wasn't in the ballot box with them and they are indiscreet. Wow. He said that. Wow. Times change after the bell is rung, huh? Times change. Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Angie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm good, Angie, because Angie, I have figured out something, Angie. We have 43 men who lost their lives for the past couple months, and God bless their soul. So what I started to do, Angie, I started boycotting for the free solution brands. You understand?
Really?
Because I believe, the Chamber of Commerce know the catastrophe, whatever is happening, and they're not coming out and speaking. When I started buying water, there's a St. Benson water. I started buying that water.
Wow.
Friday down because that's my ally down there. And I started boycotting a number of things. So I drink Fruta, I drink Pine Hill. You understand? I don't even support most people on the streets anymore because it is the same unrepeated cycle. You know, I call for a lot of people to do the same thing too because and I'm even trying to gather up for the Freeman March or for the Freeman protest for the free life that have been lost for the past couple of months. And you know, for the past 2 weeks, when you know it was in Russia, now this week it is in Grosse Lake, and they get a dead body, really bullets in La Panse.
Oh, that.
You know, Angie,
well, I'm still waiting for official word on these things. That's why I'm not discussing them this afternoon.
Yeah. But we know they a life was lost.
Yeah.
In Grosse Lake for sure, and then there was a manhunt for the perpetrator. They got him, I guess.
I hope so.
My point is, Andrew, as the silent genocide continues in our country, a lot of babies have been lost at Owen Key Hospital. A lot of young people as well with minor problems like tumors, chronic internal maybe diseases that could be treated. But you know, Betty Wells closing down with the bed bugs, like you said, a lot of issues. And I believe when I listen to people speak, a lot of people feel defeated. I heard defeat in their voice. Even sometimes I listen to Timothy, I listen to you, I listen to a lot of people. I hear the defeat, like, oh, this is life. All we can do is talk about it. We can do more. We can.
Hello.
We can go and we can hit to the streets. We can do a lot of different things, indirectly.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, like for me, my protest, I already started my protest. Like I told you, I'm going to boycott about a 33 St. Lucian brands. I already started off with about a few of them. I normally go at the back of it, I read to see where this is made. If I see made in St. Lucia, I put it back. It's not that I'm not supporting. What is there to be a damn proud St. Lucian about? Tell me what. In water, you cannot find water, basic water.
I'm going to be honest with you. It is getting harder and harder to find something to rally behind as a city.
But there was never nothing to rally behind in the first place. From 2021, there was never nothing to rally behind. It was always horrific murders. When we talk about view for the escalating crime zone, when we talk about murders getting murdered, 2-year-old babies getting murdered brutally by gunshots.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? When you talk about 2 weeks in the months, people are getting water.
Yeah.
And when you talk about importing water from the it was never good. The problem is good people, people that can make a change, people that makes it matters. They don't say anything, and they're too caught up in emotional triangles when it comes to maybe finance, when it comes to the alignment, and oh boy, if I talk, then boy, I will not get that promotion or whatever. But
I'll be victimized. They will come after me.
You understand? So at the end of the day, it comes to me to a boiling point is that already we have seen hundreds of thousands of billions of dollars worth of passports have been sold. And the solution man is being executed left, right, and center.
Now, caller, you said something there. Hold on. Allow me to jump in. So you just mentioned the passports being sold. Do you recall the Prime Minister saying that when he was asked about the CIP money, he said he was using the CIP money to help Wasco, that he was giving Wasco money every month? Do you remember that? Millions of dollars, 1 point whatever million dollars?
Yeah.
So my information is that Wasco has been silently on strike. And because the workers were not given their back pay, you remember when they said all government workers got their back pay? Wasco apparently did not receive theirs, and the workers are irate. So my information is that the Prime Minister was called into a meeting, and in that meeting the Prime Minister was pleading to the workers to pick up their tools because apparently he cannot afford to pay them their back pay. Now, my question is, if you were giving Wasco, listen carefully, caller, if you were giving Wasco over $1 million on a monthly basis, why wasn't that money, some of that money, allocated to the workers for their back pay? Can the company operate without workers?
Angie, can I step in?
Go ahead.
I call that synchronicity, Angie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the reason why I call it synchronicity, it is what a coincidence that the workers didn't get their back pay and they protest. Of all the problems Wasco have, that is why the workers, they're good, right? It is good they didn't get their back pay, and it is good they're doing that silent protest, because on both sides, they're two hypocrites. The government is hypocrite and Wasco is hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
Who suffers in the end? Us, the solution people.
Yep.
Who suffers in the end? Us that cannot find adequate water for our nation, where we have to import water. We know when Wasco should have stand up in protest, not silent, when they said we have to import water from Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
You know when Wasco should have stand up and get protest? When Wasco knew the infrastructure has collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
They knew because after 1995, when they built the dam, or UWP built the dam, the only time the dam was desilted was in another UWP administration under Alan Shafter in 2016. I don't care about the paperwork Kenny did and what he did. He never did it. He was there 2 terms. He came back again. He didn't do it. So my point is, Wasco knew which government that is for the people. Same like I told you, I'm boycotting some solution companies. Right now, I've already started the blue water that has been produced, any rainforest water. I buy water from St. Vincent now.
Wow.
Any other, I'm buying my juice from Barbados and Trinidad.
Wow.
I buy my bread, my flour from my watching on the packet from Trinidad. All those different things. So in other words, my $1 that would have go towards running that company, it will go to another company. And that company in St. Lucia will suffer because they're not realizing the country is in a crisis. And time for them to get up off their lazy asses, pardon my French.
Oh, caller, you cannot say this on broadcast radio. Don't forget, we're on the
Yes, pardon my
airwaves.
French. Well, time for them to get up themselves and stand for the country. It's not even about personality anymore. It's not even about party anymore. Every year, 70 people losing their lives.
Yeah.
In the hospital, like I told you the last time, 1,500 people died last year in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Only 1,300 people were born. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Angie, I'm listening to people. This is where we start. If we cannot take to the streets, look at the back of your milk when you go and buy it in the store. I know it might be cheaper, but if you see the solution flag on it, boycott it, because those producers are not putting pressure on the government for the government now to step in and protect the country so that business can flourish in the country. So they like the state of affairs that is happening in the country because probably they're benefiting directly or indirectly, or they already set out.
Yeah.
They already interfere themselves depending on the minister. I listened to Timothy today.
Mm-hmm.
A man come and call and try to defend Richard Frederick.
Really?
The worst housing minister you can ever find in St. Lucia history.
But how can you defend this? What defense can he mount?
What is something tangible for you to defend for Richard Frederick? If you tell me Stanley Felix, I can tell you yes. Stanley Felix moved some people down to Moshi. Stanley Felix did something move people from Conway, put them Cicero. Tangible, that happened.
Yeah.
What he did? When he came in 2006, broke down the building opposite what's that place named Dilly's. Remember that same street?
Mm-hmm.
What is that today? What is that today? A bus stop. What is that generating for the country? The other side of where Rika is. The other
There was a CDC there as well.
What did you do?
A parking lot, a car park.
What beneficial I'm going to put how much roots along in the front of it to block the car park and give people with no toilet. Still, people are still today in 2026 in front of the market where they have the tax system there. people in those little huts there are cooking food on a daily basis for people, and they do not have no bathroom, no toilet there for them.
No running water.
No running water. I'm not saying for the running water because I'm not 100% sure, but I know for sure they have no facility. You have to go and pay $1 by that if you want to pay, or you have to put on your business, pay $1 by that, or go lower down by the Chinese where they have the Chinese and lower down there. Angie, that is what Richard Frederick is for you. Take out it by Block X, break down the building,
and put a cap up.
2,500. Send the people, displace hundreds of people that live in Central Castries for years and years and years. In Central Castries, displace them, give them 2.5, tell them, hold it, and what do you put? A car park.
So cars are more important than people.
Let me ask you another question, Angie. My chain of thought is right there. The Castries market, it is today how it is today. Under Alan Shah's day before COVID-19. Remember they had a phase 1 to that?
I remember.
And then you get the new building.
I remember.
What phase 2 of that project was going to bring about?
We lost you there, caller. Are you still with us?
Remove the people from umbrellas in 2016 from umbrellas, and we put a big roof. And we give them the shelves. That's what they added today. If you go down to the Castries market by the Lackley River Stand, that phase 1, the new building as well. You see where they have the restaurants upstairs, the Anchor, where you can sit down and enjoy. That was part of the phase 1.
Yeah.
The Island Shah's.
Yes, you are correct.
That's part of the phase 1.
You are correct.
The Castries market and the arcade. We already had a plan before we break down the arcade to replace the people and put them someplace where it's beneficial to them. So when this guy comes and talk about nobody will touch my vendors, and you now go ahead and touch your vendors, you're the biggest hypocrite out the road.
True.
And I will not stand for that because I knew what is the truth, and the truth is they already had a phase 1. We already accomplished the phase 1. All the market vendors under the market knew it was a UWP administration that gave them the phase 1. Move them in the dirty water when it rains, smell of pee, all those different things when people come and buy the tourists passing there, they filthy, never changed. And then for 5 years, that small building, the Anchor, right? It will even be bigger.
Yeah.
The Anchor for 5 years, Frederick stretched that building for 5 years. It's just before that new election day, he finish it and open it. And already, if you go into the Anchor, there are parts where they paint. The water already seeping out, already moving the paint off the building already.
Yeah.
That's to show you. You understand? So my point is, Angie, while those guys keep on taking our away, because remember, it's us are paying taxes, Angie.
That's right.
We are paying taxes. So when we pay those taxes, and those guys go and sell our ports, and we now already upgrading our own ports. So the government now is taking out money from our pockets. How much billions of dollars we would be losing? $400 million dollars, I guess, over the past in the next 40 years or 50 years.
Yeah, sometimes more, depending on visitor arrivals. Don't forget, it's per visitor arrival, I call her. So it could be more.
So now you know what happened, Angie. So $400,000 come out of the economy. That is a shortfall already for the government of revenue. Now, what the government is doing now, the 2.5% levy will not be removed.
At all. At all.
So, and more taxes in many different ways. So,
and you know what else, caller? You know what you're not mentioning? The price of fuel. Look at what is happening with our electricity bills. The fuel surcharge jumped from 7 cents to 25.5 cents. Then you have the Prime Minister constantly raising the price of the 100-pound cylinders. You know who buys 100-pound cylinders, caller? Retirees, retired persons, and restaurants. Now, when you have retirees having to pay $300 and above, because it's heading there, okay, for gas. Is that fair? When you have businesses, restaurants paying over almost $300 for a tank of gas, that will last them maybe a month. What do you think is going to happen, caller? Don't you think that cost will be passed to the consumer in the price of food?
A plate of food in St. Lucia, roughly a good meal is about $45,
Yes, and it's going to go up. It is going to go up.
That's what I'm telling you. I come in there, Angie, and one part of what you're saying there, the Prime Minister shot himself in the foot a long time ago when he artificially raised the price to $60 just to make it look like the government is doing well and doing a surplus.
And caller, let me tell you something. Just before you finish what you're saying, do you know? I have a feeling, caller, that as soon as Philip J. Pierre has no choice but to raise the gas, as soon as he do that, he'll call an election. Because that the minute the gas price goes above $16, Crapo will smoke his pipe.
Yeah.
So he
Angie, and then let's put it into perspective. On my part, is that if we're going to continuously, as a people, support a government, okay, let's say the people supported SLP and they win, and we see the atrocities that is happening. You understand? It can start off as us. You understand? If we're going to continue to support the government by financing that government to do what it's doing, then we always have a problem. And like I told you, I for one already start boycotting. I go to just look at the back of my thing, made in St. Lucia, I put it back on the shelf. Because you know why? St. Lucia not supporting me as a St. Lucian.
So why should I support them?
Watch how many young men at the borderline, Angie. Over 700 young men at borderline. 80 men.
Now, and you heard what happened. You heard what happened, caller, last week? Did you hear what happened?
No, what happened?
The state was ordered to pay upwards of $3 million to two individuals who were wrongfully incarcerated for decades.
There's a lot of situations up there like that, Angie. Don't get me wrong. I told you there's criminals. For me personally, in these 248 square miles, it is the failure of the state that breeds those criminals in those communities. Because Angie, I'm from those communities as well, Where do you think all those police officers are from? You think the police officers come from Mars, from Marshall, from Grass Street, from all the different Marigot, Jack Mel, Drew Fort. Sure, that's where those police officers are coming, the same broken homes as everybody else. So it's not because they put a badge and they saying officer of the law, that means they're still not traumatized. They still have of scars on their brains they do not work with.
Yeah.
And it is a catastrophe. The system has reached a climax where a new direction is needed ASAP. And if we do not do that, we are already a failed state. It's just a matter of time that people start realizing that maybe they have to pick up arms to protect their communities, and that is what is happening. And you take a look at that. Remember in the 60s when they had the racism in America, and the white people couldn't go in, and black people couldn't go into the white communities.
Right.
If not, they would be hanged up and those different things. You know we have black racism in St. Lucia. Black people cannot even go into the black communities because if they go in that community or that they go in that community, like what is happening in Marshall, just any boulevard have problem in another community in Marshall, because I don't understand what is that. So you understand where I come from?
Yeah, I understand.
And the people in Marshall, they know the artificial borders, they know everything. Nobody not stupid. People on the ground know all who that in conflict with who, because the community is small. So if you have that type of sectarian violence where black people can go into black communities, if they go there,
it's
just
called black on black crime. Black on black crime.
They're going to kill them brutally. That is where we are, Angie. So what I'm going to tell people, we cannot just sit down and let St. Lucia sink because weak men came into power, because weak men came with weak choices and weak policies that causing catastrophes throughout the society. Men are supposed to rise when times get hard and be men. Do not be too soft. Men are supposed to be prepared to stand for something than to die for nothing. So I already started my protest. My protest is boycotting some of them solution businesses because I believe they're in bed with the government because the Chamber of Commerce don't say nothing.
Yeah.
That is where I started. Have a blessed one, Angie.
Thank you very much for that, caller. Well, guys, this is one guy who is serious, and he is doing what he thinks is right, and I agree. We'll take a quick commercial break. We will be right back with more Hard Talk here on Fire FM.
You already know the power of Licks products on your clothes and household. You licked your whites and colored clothes, leaving them fresh and scented. You licked your dishes and left your hands protected with vitamin E. You licked your floors, even licked your toilet. Now we expand and bring you 3 new scents in our fabric softener: Balmy Sunshine, Summer Sunshine, and Thousand Flowers. And licks those stains off of colored clothes with Licks Color Scent Bleach. Licks went even further with Bondi Care body soap bars in deodorant and antibacterial. So Licks tiredness and bacteria out and refresh your tired body. Your products giving you licks? Then choose Licks from the Lead Distribution Inc. Available at all leading supermarkets.
Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing good, thanks to God. Angie, let me tell you something. We think, or we try to believe, that we will uphold a government dishonesty because we are for that government, and think when they get to power, they will respect us. They know that we help them in their dishonesty. It will just take time, but they will never, you understand? I'm speaking about the vendors. Remember all that problems these vendors gave when it was election. Richard Frederick Puffy, how they say Puffy, how they say that how they say that in English, when you play on something, election was coming, he played on them. You understand? Making them show, don't touch my vendors. You remember when Peterson Francis was mayor, how they gave him trouble to move the coconut vendors there when they was leaving all their skin there. The fishermen, they wanted to sell all around and not in the fish market. The man who said, I voted Richard so that I could sell there. All that trouble. I will not say he helped them maybe direct so that we have, but I believe he promised them things, so they voted for him. So now the same things, when they say them,
Bâton qui bat chien blanc, qui bat chien noir.
Voila. And the dog that it will beat will not be able to take it. When the white man was taking the beating, the black man will not be able to take it. So he did all this coplo with these people, don't touch my vendors. Yeah, you understand? And they voted him now. And the very same thing they was doing the other one. You didn't know there wasn't pain? Don't tell me that man didn't know the people wasn't paying. They just started not paying now. Why he cannot take it now? Because they wasn't paying. That's what they're asking. When you help people to do wickedness and you want to take over with your wickedness, with them helping you, that's why they cannot speak. They cannot speak, the vendors, because they know what they did. They know the trouble they gave. Yet, beg your pardon?
I'm agreeing with you.
Yes. Now they cannot speak. It was the same thing. Mr. Along with Alan Chasney, the mayor of at that time, was
Mr.
trying to help.
Francis.
They gave you trouble. They gave all the trouble. Now they want Richard Frederick coming in. You think they're people? Now we want to tell the people, call the people all kind of names, but it was the same thing they were doing to the other the same thing they were doing to the other government, and he supported them in a smart way. He didn't know that it would come back to bite him. What do you think?
I guess not.
What do you think?
I guess not.
That's what I'm saying now. Yes. I won't say I'm not sorry for them because they spend their time there. You understand? But sometimes when you do wrong, you have to say, you all have to come together. And wrong is wrong.
That's right.
You're not helping the government to do wickedness just to spite them. And then your government coming to power and they're trying to do the same thing the other government was doing. You all cannot take it now. What can you all do? You all should have stood up. No matter what government it is, stand up. And people, you don't see people reluctant to helping them now, telling them take what they put. You understand? If you're honest, people will come out to help you. But you was dishonest to the then government. So I don't know if you have to say take what you're taking away. I don't know what to say. But they help in their demise now. They help. That will be a lesson for them in the long run. Wrong is wrong, and right is right. When it is wrong, say it is wrong, no matter what government that's in power. That's what I have to say now, my dear. I'm listening to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah. Yes, bye.
Well, I agree. I agree totally. You guys were the architects of your own demise. Sad but true. We have another caller right away. Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. I'm good. How are you?
Not so bad, my darling. I'm holding on. I'm Jim.
Yep.
I'm going back to the Minister of Housing and his last show.
Yes. So you heard the show?
I heard it on Timothy Podia's program on Newspin. It is sad. It is sad to see wickedness play out right in front of our eyes. Or it is sad to see ignorance, the level of ignorance we have in this country. And I am one, I know that the elites are laughing at the poor people in this country. The elites are literally laughing at the poor people who went on the line and vote for the St. Lucia Labour Party that called themselves the Party for the Malawi. And we can all see that the Party for the Malawi, which is the SLP administration, they are the ones in bed with the rich elites in the country. But they are using the poor people to hold on to that political power so that they can feed themselves and the elites of this nation. And it is time the poor people of my country, the poor people I happen to love, the poor people I will continue to speak for them, for the eyes to open, to know the meaning of good governance, and not allowing wicked men and women to take advantage of the ignorance. Ignorance meaning that you're a lack of knowledge. You don't know what is happening in your surroundings.
Right.
You don't know the name and the meaning of politics.
But
you all don't know that.
Speaking of that,
people of St. Lucia.
Speaking of that,
you all do not know.
Speaking of what you just said about people being taken advantage of, isn't it the height of I don't even want to say the word that is coming to mind on the air because it will be very politically incorrect. But I'm just going to say I'm going to coin a new phrase, wrongness, for a government minister, not just any government minister, an MP for a certain area, to tell his constituents to come on a show and tell off his constituents in that manner. And these self-same constituents are the ones listening to the show. And he's saying, do not tell me you voted for me because I wasn't in the ballot box with you.
Angie,
what does that say?
If the people of St. Lucia continue like that, and this man can come on the television station on national TV,
yeah,
and play or display what he displayed there towards the public, by the time the first term finish, not one St. Lucian will be able to open their mouth to speak. You hear what I'm telling you?
I hear you loud
and if the poor people that are following them think it's business as usual, I will let them know it is not business as usual. It is not business as usual, because if this man had displayed, if he was in another country and this man had ever come on a television show on outlet and displayed that kind of behavior, he would have been no more. That would have been the last time he would have seen politics or happened to be part of the politics in that country. He would have been no more. No difference from the teacher who take that bottle and throw after the school child. His days would have been numbered. That would have been the final classroom he would have been seeing. But since our people are so to ways and think that they are playing politics, and in the sooty waysness that they are doing, they are hurting the country. They are hurting the country. And I am afraid for the next 5 years under Labour, what will happen in this country? Remember, the 5 years, the first term is not up as yet.
Nope.
It's not up as yet. So right now, they call an early election, so they feel they're in bed. They can do what they want. They can insult you. They can bring you down worse than what they were already doing. And who they are insulting? You ever heard they insult somebody of stature on that program? If it's not Mr. Chasney, because they want the people to continue to hate him so that he will not come back and do what he's supposed to do, the good things that the country need. He will not come back and implement it to take the people out of poverty. They only go after the poor people. It's only the poor people dying.
Yeah.
It's only the poor people dying. When was the last time we heard a politician die in this country because of sickness, poor health care?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
The last one that died was Velan John. Well, he lived his time. Velan John was probably all 80 years or how old already. Who's dying? Why did they go and they build some more cemeteries? Because they knew all what that was going to go down in the country. Because when you come in as a government and you make things hard for people, that is what the economy will lead up to. That is what will take place in the country. Death through violence, through the health sector, because they neglect that, and everybody focus on one set is the rich and the famous, and the poor people, they fighting my party, we protecting me, red and ready. Red and ready for what?
And their mood is red, don't forget.
For what? And I keep telling them, if Kenny Anthony, the guru, The man that think he was the guru of Labour Party brought St. Lucia down to the knees, to its knees. You don't think it's Philip Pierre that will put you on a pedestal? Yeah? Our economy declined in 2025 by 6%. You cannot understand what is decline. It dropped. We had no growth. Instead of we having growth, the economy is not doing well.
But how many, caller, truly, how many of these individuals understand what economic growth is? How many of them understand the significance of debt to GDP ratio? How many of them understand how important these things are? They don't even understand. For all of the information that has been put out there about the CIP, I've spoken about the CIP for so long. Other people have spoken about it. The opposition has spoken about it. Private citizens have spoken about it. People in the diaspora have spoken about it. How many of them understand what is wrong with the CIP?
Because the entities that is supposed to speak and educate the massive, they have taken the bribe from the government. Chamber of Commerce, I'll raise my voice on them. Chamber of Commerce, all of them need to resign. Put a plug in the head and go and dump in the ocean. That institution has let down the country. You know what I'm telling you?
Mm-hmm.
As far as I see it, they chose corruption over the land.
Wow.
They chose corruption over the land. The Principal Association, the Teachers Association, all of them, wherever they are, the National Trust, all of you all chose corruption over the land. You know what I'm telling you?
Mm-hmm.
And for now, the level of corruption that is in St. Lucia, sad to say, with Labour Party being in government, the only thing that can help that country there is if the poor people open their eyes to see what is happening around them.
I was just saying, caller, that the Prime Minister is constantly raising the price of the £100 cylinder. But the people who buy the £100 cylinders are the pensioners and the retirees that cannot pick up a tank of gas and go and buy it.
Sweetheart,
and you're squeezing these people.
Nobody. Philip Pierre doesn't care with nobody. The only thing Philip Pierre cares about is the Labour Party. He doesn't even care about himself.
Wow.
You know why I tell you that? Because if he cared about himself, he would have left the government already and stopped making a mockery out of himself. And stop allowing other countries to laugh at his face, to laugh at him in his face, making him believe that he's doing something when he's not doing nothing. He doesn't care about himself. Because I'm not going to be in any position like that, making blunders, bringing my country down, shaming my country, and I will be there allowing people to laugh at my flag, laugh at my people, and resign long already. You know what I'm telling you?
Yep.
So it's somebody that doesn't care about themselves. He's somebody that have been indoctrinated to think of the party, not the country, not the people. The party. Think what your political party, what you can, and that is the philosophy also, what you can do for your political party, not what your political party can do for you.
That's a reverse of what the American president said, you know. He said, think what you can do for your country and not what your country can do for you. He
but
never spoke about party here.
Tom Walcott, all of them.
He spoke
that
about
why they want to be in the power, because they uses that politics thing and their party to enrich themselves. And they just go and put a little nail there, put a little nail there, play the politics like, say they're going and do a minimum wage, like they give them, fool the people. You put a minimum wage, you're talking about that they do that minimum minimum wage. So what is the sense of that minimum wage now?
I must
As the inflation under your watch is higher.
belches you. And I hope he has an answer. But I doubt he will give it.
Because from day one I've been saying that they're just playing politics, rushing things, never sit down at the table and discuss. How will that affect our people? These people cannot sit down around a table and negotiate because the tables now have nails in it. They will not be able to sit properly.
The tables or the chairs?
Tables, chairs, now they like Russell tab.
Caller. Oh my God. But caller.
And I need the poor people. You see me, Angie, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to, wherever God sees it for me, I am okay with it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean because you are poor, you cannot think.
Mm-hmm.
You need to think to make life better for you. Not when a government come and they take you and they tell you, well, because you supported me, I put you in a job there. Yes, you were not working, they put you there. Okay, you're getting a salary, $1,200 for your month. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But what is the value of your salary?
Yeah.
When that government continue to tax you?
True.
What is that value? Sometimes you say it's better you don't work.
True. I have been in
because
that situation.
Because right now on the Philippine Angie, you know the workforce, they are the ones that feeling it than the people that sit at their home.
Have you heard me say that we have a new class in St. Lucia, the working poor?
They are the ones that feeling
because they are the ones paying the taxes, caller. They are the ones doing it. They are the ones running the country.
They are the ones running the country. They are the ones that have to leave their house, pay bus fare up and down for their school children.
Yes.
Lessons.
Yes.
Over there. When they go to work, they have to have food for them to eat their lunch. When they come back, they have to prepare food at their homes for their family.
Caller, do you know the majority of these people go give their kids their last $20 to go to school and go to work and make a cup of tea?
But I am in it. Sometimes I am there and I have to do what I have to do. You have to do what you have to do as a parent.
They make a cup. I am so happy, caller. Let me tell you something. People might think I'm boasting, but I am so happy that my daughter is now working. I am so happy that my daughter grew up and she has left school and she is working, because I didn't know how I was going to continue, caller. I can tell you that. And I wasn't alone. I was not alone. I had my family. I had my brothers and sisters. I had my mom. I had her father doing little by little whatever he can. It's not like and when I look at people with more than one child and they have no support, no family support, the father doesn't care, I'm trying to figure out how these people make it on a daily basis, because I used to catch my royal, caller. I ain't joking.
Let me tell you, and I am telling you, if St. Lucians don't open their eyes, St. Lucians probably think it's a joke that is going on there.
Caller, I used to get my salary. Let me tell you, I used to get my salary, caller. And that's not 10, 20 years ago. That's just recently there. I used to get my salary. And when I budget, I want to give my boss his money back, because I'm not seeing what I can do with that money.
But you cannot do anything, Michael. Let me tell you that when you go out, especially now that you select race, they rates there. By the time you beat your eye, you go out, you pay, you select. You pay flow. Right? You pay Wasco for water you're not even getting.
How you passing by Massey?
How you going by Massey? How you ending up inside of Massey? With $60.
And you need food.
Or maybe would I say with a little $200 left.
And you need food, and you need transportation, and you need this, and you need that. And incidentals. How do you do it? And these people that are there.
Angie, before I leave, let me tell you, I just want the poor people to know the only time, if you're not biased, the masses, if you're not biased, the only time you get a break in this country is under UWP government. Because they think of you. They don't think of themselves. They think of you more than themselves. You know what I'm telling you?
Uh-huh.
They think of you and the country more than themselves, no matter what.
Now, caller,
between the two political parties.
Caller, can I give you a joke? Do you know I was one of the biggest advocates for the minimum wage? Every time I used to see Virginia Dr. Poyot and the others, every cabinet briefing, every parliament, everything, the first question out of my mouth is the minimum wage, because I seriously thought that the minimum wage would help my situation.
You were wrong for that, man. If the minimum wage. Now she lived that she couldn't tell us about the briefcases minimum wage again.
The minimum wage was so much lower than I was expecting. It's almost as if they put the minimum wage there to tell me shut up, you know.
And what are killing me with these people? I want St. Lucians again to understand. They're talking about minimum wage. How can you give a minimum wage in an economy that's not robust? An economy that is not working? How can you go up as a government and tell the business people we're planning on putting a minimum wage in the country when you are the one who came there and cut off the sales from these people?
Yep. You made it harder for them to operate, because don't think the business people are getting it any easier than us, you know.
But if sales down, how are they getting?
Sales are down.
If sales down, if the poor people not shopping, they cannot shop. Only what they can do is to go in the supermarket and grab a few items for them to bring to cook food for themselves.
Caller, if I tell you, when I go to the supermarket, I'm only grabbing meat. That's the only food I grab, and most of the things I grab, it's how do you call that? I even forget the name. There's a name, stuff like roll-on and that kind of thing. Toiletries. Because I always say my brother knew his sister was indiscreet, so he planned dashing.
Well, let me tell you,
that's what his sister eating. Because nothing.
Middle class.
I tell you,
middle class
it's
now has turned to
the working poor.
The poor.
The working poor.
Okay, yeah, you put it as the working poor. We don't have middle class. And I want to tell the poor people, when you don't have middle class in your country, it's over for you.
Yep.
And it's not a game that is going on there saying you're protecting the victim. No, you're protecting Philip Pierre to harbor his ministers, to enrich themselves through taxation and bad deals. And you're not seeing it playing out right in your very eyes.
Caller, it's not easy, you know.
You're seeing it playing out right before y'all, because that cannot never happen under a UWP administration and for this country to remain quiet. That is why I am telling you again, the country has been sold out to the SLP party. Okay? All these NGOs, all of them, they took the bribe. They like money. They want to be in it. They want to not even have a business and have a set of keys showing people they have not a house, a vehicle. And they cleaning. I have a bad ride back there. Nobody is speaking.
Caller, there are certain CEOs of certain NGOs, and they are the ones attacking people on social media for the government, you know.
But that's what I am telling you. These people do not care about the country. What they care about is their pocket. So when they come and attack you, they silence you. You know, and they will remain in power. So it's them alone that have to eat. They alone that have to eat. Nobody is speaking on behalf of the people. I'm going back to the teacher again that sent the bottle after the student.
Mm-hmm.
It's a poor person that happened to her. It's not a rich man. Where are the organizations that have to protect that child? Where are they? So the mother have to go to the station, make a report, bring how do you call it? Bring doctor's receipt and everything like that. Not one lawyer in St. Lucia can say they can take that case and go after the education ministry or government, whatever it is. Not one lawyer can do that for the poor lady.
Caller, they will not do it.
And I am absolutely certain.
Caller, they will not do it. When was the last time you heard the Bar Association speak?
But that's what I'm telling you.
And I can tell you when you heard them speak, you know. You heard them speak.
Told us
you heard them speak when Sarah Flood went and agitated because of the halls of justice being a threat to the cathedral. And after that, it's like they all went to hibernate.
But let me tell you, the opposition leader,
listen,
Honorable Alan Shas,
let me ask you
when he first, hold on, when he first came out and he told us the judiciary has been compromised, Sanukwe take a party about. And when your court system is compromised, the poor man has no choice.
The poor man has no rights.
They have no rights, they have no choice, they have nothing. You know what I'm telling you? The people need to start listening to what the opposition have been telling them, because everything they say to them, it has played out. Concerning our visas, the restriction, we have seen it. The inflation, we have seen it. There is nothing the opposition has said for the past 4 years, going on to 5 years, since Philip Pierre is in office. They have said, and it was a lie or anything like that. We have seen it playing right before our very eyes. And what they are saying is exactly what we are seeing that is bringing down the country. You need to tell me if it was on the UWP administration that our ports, the leaders, it could have been Alan Shasney, it could have been anybody, whoever that was there as the leader, would have given away. The port Sir John Compton worked so hard to build for us. That put us in a position to have one of the best port of entry in the Caribbean or the world. That country would have been upside down. Politicians would have been on the road. You know, people would have been outside with their placard and everybody is quiet. Because the party is my party. You lose, I win. I'm from in opposition. You all stay there for 20 years. You all do this. I'm 16-1. 16-1. But in the past 4 years, the country had no economic growth. The only thing we saw was after COVID.
And that's it, you know.
Under a UWP government.
And meanwhile, caller, everybody who we taught how to walk is miles ahead of us running, you know.
Yes, that's a good thing you said so. It's a good thing you said so. Let me tell you. It's a big shame. And if St. Lucians were taking the country serious, during the COVID, the OECS or carry gun. When we were under the COVID threat and everything, which of the islands they chose to take us out, the region out of the COVID, to come out with a strong economy? Wasn't it St. Lucia under the leadership of Alan Shasted? Wasn't it Alan Shasted who drew the plan for the region to come out of COVID and to do things that will sustain the economy, to grow the economy, to bring growth, to make things better in the country? So, St. Lucians, let me tell you something. You are so stupid and foolish, I will call it to you. Your own plans is being laid out in other countries, and these other countries are seeing growth.
These are the things that are pricking my chest, you know, caller.
The other countries
home potting. We were the ones.
Vision. That if you stop playing politics and run with what Chasney and his team had today, Barbados couldn't talk to us.
Caller, Barbados, you saying Barbados? The home potting,
would not be able to talk to us.
The home potting you want to do.
America would not be able to talk to us.
Listen, caller.
We would be the shining star.
Listen, caller.
In the Caribbean and the wider world.
Listen, the home potting we wanted to do in Viewfort, several Caribbean islands in the OECS are doing.
But all of them undertake it already.
Our international airport.
From our leader.
Listen to that.
Supposed to be proud.
Our international airport, several other people are doing. Our world-class hospitals, several of them are copying it.
Yes,
so much so, the National Health Insurance, St. Vincent is instituting it. When I see these things, caller, I can't. You know the old people tell you, "Piche moi pas même 20 sorties, je
all I have to tell St. Lucian, the man that they say that is doing all the working cash was the same man in 2020 or somewhere about. He was on his show and he told the Labour Party, use my hands. But if you don't use my hands, so the amount of work, well, he never have respect for Mr. Chasney. The amount of work Chasney had for that country, you always stay in the wilderness. Use my hands. That says a lot.
Yes, it does.
It says a lot. And then they came up with a slogan. One thing, they have slogans, I don't know who giving them the slogans. But the slogans hitting the heart of the poor man. Putting you first. But it's not you. The slogan is not for you, the poor man. The slogans are for the elites. They are the ones that joined the $50 million in less than 3 years. The elites, the loyal friends, putting them first. Not you, all the poor man they put in first. Because if they're putting you first, Paulo, it's not gutters, you're born clean. Yeah? It's not gutters.
Thank you for that.
The slogan was, how I would put it, a decree. The slogan putting you first was a decree for the elites of the land.
Anyway, caller, thank you for that contribution. You know we have to sign off soon because full disclosure is coming on next.
Have a good day.
Yes, thank you so much. Guys, let me tell you, everything this caller said about all our plans is so true. Everything that Alan Chasney came up with, everything that St. Lucia had on the books to do is being done in the other countries. We only have a few minutes left in the show where we're over our time actually, but I want to give the Facebook platform some sort of a voice. Somebody says, "Oh, caller, you're so right. This is my everyday talk. I see anything to be a damn proud Lucian about." My goodness. Somebody says, "Angie, so you believe PJP saying he was giving this money to Wasco?" Well, he said it. Whether I believe it or not, it doesn't matter. He said it. Somebody says, "Caller, I support you 2,000%. Another person says, "Caller, you mentioned Sir John. He is an undying legend, but sadly we lost him. However, I think that we should speak more about Sir Alan and the amazing things he did, attempted, and his desires for this country. St. Lucia, we should do this to debunk the lies and deception of this current administration. We need to show that Alan alone is better than this entire administration and supporters who put together. This is nothing short of the facts." Oh man, I have one final call. You are my final call today, and I'm so sorry, but you have to make it brief. Good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Make it very brief. The lady before me covered so much. How are you, Angie?
I am good. How are you?
I'm okay. I know I'm probably in a bad area right now, so I may cut off a little. Just be patient with me, okay? If I cut off, just give me like a second to get to, another location, so I can finish my contribution, if anything. Angie, listen to this, my love. So, you heard that I don't know if anybody has mentioned this, that there was a...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
You cut off for a second, so I didn't hear what you said.
Did you hear there was a fraudulence on the loose in Bois de Rouge over the weekend?
Yes, I actually read the news report today in the midday news update.
That somebody was bitten by the snake, a security guard, and the snake took off, and I don't think the snake has been found.
Well, they said no. They said the forestry department said when they investigated, they realized it was a young snake, and also they're saying that they believe the snake was transported there because of construction material or in trucks, because certain individuals were trucking sand from canneries to a construction site in Bois de Rouge, and they believe that was how the snake was transported from one area to the next. But they have not found the snake. But these animals, they wrap themselves, they go into the vehicles, they wrap themselves because the vehicles are warm and they're cold-blooded.
Yes.
So they go and then when the vehicle stops for a while, they come out. When it gets cold, they come out. So, because did you hear about the boa that was found next to in Marshall?
So it's a young snake.
Yes, they're saying it's a young snake. Based on the bite marks, they're judging that it's a young snake.
So the person is alive, yes?
Yes, the person is alive.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, so a big snake, maybe something that you can see must be a little tiny thing, not just one.
Well, I don't know. But they're saying it's not an adult snake. Yeah.
Sorry?
They're saying it's not an adult snake, it's a young snake. And like you say, hopefully it's not a female for it to start breeding. Because then...
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, Angela, you there?
I'm there.
Okay. So now I have an observation. It's just weird, Angie. Angie, a snake was found in Marshall as well.
Yeah, that was a boa.
Right?
So people generally don't consider boas snakes because they're not poisonous.
So that was a boa constrictor that was found in Marshall.
Yeah. And the same thing, they're saying that it was transported there. It must have curled up underneath somebody's vehicle. And, somebody jokingly said the snake came to the opening of Jazz. And they came to the right place. They came to look for free tickets at the Prime Minister's office, because that's where they found the snake, close to his office.
Yeah, so I was a little bit thing about the snake, because snakes are showing up in Grand Riviera. Snakes are showing up in there's one on the loose in Bois de Rouge. Snakes are showing up in Marshall. Snakes are showing up in areas that snakes never show up. Now, that may sound a little bit funny. So for those of you who want to laugh, have a good laugh, because You know, sometimes we say things and people freak out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the pentagrams, sorry, all over the place?
Mm-hmm.
Big pentagrams around election time, looking like stars, but you must know a lot of people may not even have noticed the difference because it was actually like a Christmas decoration.
Mm-hmm.
And they were placed on certain corners, certain places. So now I'm beginning to ask myself if those places where those things were places where the snakes are showing up. Because there was two in Wadwash, there was one in Granville. I don't know if Marsha had one. Maybe they did.
I don't know.
But it's just weird. It's weird. It does not, it's weird. It doesn't make too much sense. It's a little bit, pointless. And then there's nothing people can do about that.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely nothing. And government is, I think these people are treating these things lightly. I mean, there must be a way to check your vehicle if you go to canneries and these places to dump or to pick up sand or whatever, that you should check your vehicle prior to leaving canneries to see if anything is attached to your engine somewhere. You understand?
Well, from what I've been told, these snakes have a habit. They make it a habit of doing stuff like that. What they do is they go into the engine or somewhere close to the engine because, like I said, they are cold-blooded animals and they go and they look for warmth. And then, that's how these things happen and they get transported inadvertently. In fact, I often say that we own a farm. So one of the workers on our farm said to me that in his younger days, when they were transporting bananas by the bunch, he cut a bunch of bananas, put it on his head, walked a great distance with it, and when he put it down, 2 seconds later, the snake unraveled itself from the stalk and slid off into the sunset, and he was so shocked he couldn't even do anything. So these snakes are famous for that kind of transportation, but I really need to let you go because, of course, full disclosure is coming on next. Thank you so much for your contribution. Stay tuned.
I have an observation.
Yeah.
So in 2021 and 2025, the government came in and made all anti-venom free everywhere, and they were putting it all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They said it was in the health centers or whatever. Is this something they know that we did not know?
Well, I wish I could tell you, but I cannot speculate as to what the government was thinking. But yes, they did do that. I don't know.
I know. So the bushes on the roadsides and the gutters and all of that, why are the bushes so bushy? Why are the gutters clean? Why is this place looking so dreary? Why are the street lamps dim? Very dim, that's so dim that you can't even see the sidewalk when you're driving at night.
Caller.
Why have they dimmed all the street lamps on the high road and the roadways?
Caller, the Prime Minister said he doesn't want to hear anything about poor lighting. That's an excuse. That's what he said, caller.
That's an excuse?
That's what he said.
The poor lighting came on his watch.
Well, that's what he said.
The dim lights
because someone said to him
on our highways came under his watch.
Somebody said to him that the poor lights, the accidents, the increase in accidents are due to the fact that there's poor lighting and the roads, there are potholes on the road, and there's no marking on the road, and he said that is an excuse. He doesn't want to hear anything about that. That is an excuse.
That's an excuse?
That's what he said.
Why did he dim the lights? Why are all the lights dimmed on the highways? There was a point in time when the lights on the highways were so bright that if you were driving without your light turned on,
you wouldn't even notice.
You wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, until you got to a dark area.
Right now, that's right, right now, it is so dim and grim on these roads that we don't even know. We don't even know. We can't see the sides of the road. If somebody's pulling somebody in the bush on the side of the road, as a driver, you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the gutters. You're not seeing the markings. You're not seeing anything. So why is that? And we want responses from the Ministry of, Transport, Infrastructure, Transport. We want some answers. Thank you, Angie. You have to go.
Yes, I have to go. But stay tuned for full disclosure, because you can bring that back up with Foster. You know he always gives some traffic tips.
I will. Thank you. Thanks.
Guys, it is my time. I have to go. I've taken up so much time, and Mr. Chiku is at the door and raring to go. Thank you so much for joining me here on Hard Talk. Stay tuned for full disclosure with Foster Chico. We're going to come back with more of the pertinent issues that matter. Don't touch that dial. Don't go anywhere. Don't stay away from your device, because we'll be coming in hotter with full disclosure. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.